Hello and welcome to World Talks on TVP World. My name is Sasha Farbach. Lithuania's main airport in Vilnius was forced to shut down after balloons carrying smuggled goods crossed from Belarus into its airspace. Now, that's the latest in a series of aerial incursions disrupting European skies. Now, as NATO's eastern flank faces mounting drone and hybrid threats, questions are growing about how ready governments and their citizens really are. Now, joining us now to talk more about it all is Darius Jurgelevičius, former Deputy Director of the State Security Department and also Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs. Good to have you on TVP World. Thanks for joining us today.
Good morning.
Good morning. I want to get some context and views from you. I mean, if we're looking at just this past weekend, these balloons, we know they're contraband. They came from Belarus, but there's a whole pattern of this. But tell us the immediate reaction from your side as a security vulnerability. I mean, there was a no-fly zone as far as I'm concerned. So what happened here?
Listen, I mean, it's the first time in recent history when the main airport, international airport of Lithuania, has been shut down for more than 6 hours. It's been before some incidents with short closures, but this time it was extremely dangerous accident involving two hot air balloons that, actually not hot air balloons, that's those meteorological balloons who were carrying smuggled cigarettes. Two of them entered into security area of Vilnius International Airport, and that caused the shutdown of all operations. It affected 30 flights and over 6,000 passengers. And it was, let's be honest, first time in the history, as I have already mentioned, that it was a little bit panic among passengers. And first time we had involved this special plan. Actually, we have a special institution which is called National Center for Emergency. So it actually immediately activated special protocol how to deal with these situations. So as I mentioned, this is the first time in recent history, and we have really just to draw serious lessons from this accident. As you just mentioned rightly, it's getting kind of a pattern how Russia through Belarus trying and testing our ability to address those issues and those threats as air balloons or drones.
Mm-hmm. You're saying that there should be serious lessons drawn from this. I mean, Lithuania is no stranger to being vigilant on its border. You have Russia on the one side, you have Belarus there as well. But let's talk a bit more about realistically, I mean, if these are contraband balloons, yes, but I mean, we've seen more of these. Yes. Is Lithuania, in your mind, prepared enough? We hear a lot now about these different drone incursions. What's missing in your mind to potentially prevent or be ready for something like this in the future?
So with these balloons, we have already kind of a good in a sense good history. Imagine last year our border guards intercepted 966 balloons carrying out smuggled cigarettes. 966, almost 1,000. So we have already kind of protocol how to deal with them. Question remains when they enter too deep into the country, and this time it was our international airport, which is actually located 40 kilometers from the border with Belarus, but still, it's the first time when they entered into this special security area. So I would say that our government taking all necessary measures just to prevent from these incursions, but we still should acknowledge, even if we have armed our border guards with necessary equipment, how just to shut them down, those balloons. But we have also just to consider that you cannot shut them any place. So when they reach any village or even Vilnius city, you cannot just shoot them down, because falling down they could cause also very serious damage. So, but getting back to the question about whether we are ready to address those issues, I would say yes, but still not enough, because that threat is rising day by day. So we should be also ready ready just to look for another options or another technical instruments how just to deal with these balloons and especially with drones.
Mm-hmm. And also, I want to come back to the factor of costs. I mean, Vilnius, that's a large airport, obviously largest for your country, and also in the Baltics. But also, if we're looking the last few days, we had similar things as well. We had Munich Airport in Germany, also tens of thousands of passengers stranded. The German Chancellor has also said that he very much is certain that it was Russia. If we're looking also at Denmark, some time before that. I mean, this is a huge cost and inconvenience. How can Europe, in your mind, not just for your country and the region, how can we do more here? It seems to be that we're also always going to be scrambling to recover. It's a lot of money at stake, inconvenience. I mean, what's the medium long-term impact of all this in your mind from a security standpoint?
So let me just a bit respond to your question from a little distance. So, I mean, these kind of events that we are facing these days, all those drones that coming into our countries, those balloons, it's a testing thing that Russia doing with us and looking at us how we are going to respond. And when we try to play around and say, listen, that's the case with Poland when 20 drones came into your territory, and some of politicians and some of experts tried to play down the importance of this event. They're saying that the most likely there was a mistake how they did make this intrusion into Polish territory. So I wouldn't really like us just to hide our heads in sand and say, listen, so if they came from Belarus, they most likely were headed to Ukraine. But when 20 drones coming into your territory, someone tries to say, listen, this is nothing. I mean, this is just most likely was a problem with navigation. I don't really see that thing going like this. So we need really send a very clear signal to Russia. Listen, I mean, you should really be very cautious playing these games with us. So up to now, we have no kind of together stand and position on addressing these issues. I mean, they're testing Denmark, they're testing Germany, they're testing Lithuania. I'm certain this and other countries will come. Most likely Hungary and Slovakia won't be on that list. So we need to have a very clear common position where, as the European Union, as the NATO member states, that we are not going to tolerate. We are going to take certain measures against Russia. I don't really want us to speculate what kind of measures it could be, but I guess we are still very innovative to address those issues that Russia also could be a little bit surprised in a sense that we are able to retaliate.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You said you don't want to speculate on what clear signal that could be, but I think one thing I'm going to press you on, I mean, one thing is that if we're looking at these contraband balloons, they came from Belarus. If we're looking at those air incursions earlier in Poland, that likely has come from Belarus once again. There's also the issue of that border, of looking at weaponized migration. This has also been an issue, not just for Poland, but also for your country. So how do you see that factor here? What do we do with Belarus, with the continued threats and the continued thing that it poses for all of the eastern flank, really?
I guess it's nothing new. I guess we have already that kind of migration crisis together with you, with the Polish friends. So we managed really just to get this crisis under control. And it was done together with Polish friends and Lithuanians. So, I mean, we know how to deal with these issues these days. So it's almost daily we have 1 or 2, 3, 5, 6 illegal migrants trying just to cross the border and enter into territory of Lithuania or Poland, I guess. So we have already managed to deal with this, but this weapon is still exists. And taking into account that this is a very kind of sensitive matter when you have to deal with the human beings that trying to cross the border. I mean, that's not something that is kind of made of iron and steel so that you can really shoot. And this is not a military kind of intervention. It's a humanitarian intervention. Actually, it's a hybrid warfare, but still using a live people that you could really treat with respect and dignity, although they are absolutely criminals in a very legal sense. So, I mean, I guess we still should look at this as the possible another attempt to use the humans as the weapon against our territorial integrity and sovereignty. So, but for that reason, I guess we have already developed enough protocols and ways how we will going to address those issues if they will, and they most likely will get back to us in coming years or months.
Mm-hmm. But also generally, if we're looking at Belarus, we just had those recent Zapad exercises some weeks back. We've had those drone incursions. At the same time, we have the Trump administration dealing closely more with Lukashenko. We've had those releases of prisoners. So, I mean, it's a difficult situation, right? What do you do with Belarus in this case? Is it still more of a threat? Do you engage them? But at the same time, I just want to briefly also ask about the bomb shelters that also I think your government is calling out to modernize, telling citizens to be prepared. I mean, what kind of reaction are you getting from citizens? I mean, surely this must worry them. Are Lithuanians more ready to go on and be on civil defense? What's going on in this direction?
When it comes to shelters, our government has a very concrete and very serious plan how to develop network of shelters. We have already thousands of shelters belonging to municipalities, state-owned and even private. Those are absolutely meeting all those modern requirements. They are with necessary ventilation systems, with two entries and exits, stockpiled with food and water. So most of them actually are located in those areas that are adjacent to border with Belarus, as we know that this is the biggest threat which might coming from that direction. But the government has the plan, as I mentioned, it's implementing that plan, and I hope that the citizens already know this, as every municipality has its own plan and directions for local population with clear information where they should go in case of any military intervention or any kind of threat coming from outside.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so as we know and as we've just heard, there is much more to be prepared for. I think it was 6,400 shelters, but more needs to be done as we all remain vigilant there. But as you said, it's a common policy across Europe, and with neighbors involved as well. Look, we'll close it there. Thank you so much for all those insights from Lithuania. That was our guest here, Darius Jurgelevičius. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for joining us, but stay tuned. There's much more coming up right here on TVP World. Goodbye.